Yan! Today we are doing an easy, little trash, DIY, DIY, upcycle, reusable, gluten-free, sugar-free, no fun project. So, if this is not your first rodeo on this channel, you know that I am a cheap-ass bitch, but I am also a sustainable bitch. So my story begins years ago when I was dating a bald cheapskate who I did not throw shade at for like 2 videos, so you know. We get through it in this one. And more shade might be coming because this is gonna be a very short video otherwise. So a lot of things changed in the past few years. For instance, my new boyfriend has a lot of hair. Oh, that one was very fast. Aside from that, back then I was 1 without money and 2 I had a bunch of fabric. Like always, it keeps on multiplying. So I made these bad boys. These are reusable and of course washable pads that are basically instead of single-use cotton pads, you know, so to remove like makeup and masks and like whatever you put on your face. These are now, I think, almost 10 years old at this point and they have seen better days. Like, all guys, they are ready to retire. Honestly, I think I'll just keep this for removing nail polish. So the reason I decided to make new ones is we have some permanent fluff bunnies living here. Even though I do throw this in the wash on like higher temperature with like towels and bedding to make sure they get clean, I don't feel like they are as clean as they were originally. And my skin has been acting up lately, so you know, new pads might help actually. And of course you can't just make the pads, right? They need a new home. So I made these bags for them to kind of chill in first in the clean one, and then when they get used, they go in the used one. And when I'm doing the laundry, I just, you know, tie the whole bag and throw it in there. No, the bags have seen better days. They have been washed a lot and one of them has a little bit of dye on. My previous projects and failures really do follow me everywhere. Also, the string that I used is not really good for this. It's really hard to untie a knot and it's getting all like gross looking. So I also looked up for how much these are selling and double digits for something that I have means and materials to do at home. Absolutely not. We're gonna start with making the pads themselves. There are some common recommendations for fabric choices. So for my old ones, I have chosen jersey and that is a very common recommendation. It's basically a t-shirt material. So you can use like a old t-shirt for this. I have also used fleece for the previous ones. So the problem I have with fleece is it's not cotton, it's polyester. And I had a lot of it, so I used it. But I do think it would be best to use just natural fabrics for this. However, I did want to have 2 textures. And the problem with the t-shirt fabric, while they are usually made out of cotton, it is, however, made out of a knitted fabric, which means it's going to be very stretchy in every direction. And that means that it's going to be harder to control. And if you are like new at sewing, you don't want that. You want materials that are very easy to control. So like 0 to minimum stretch, basically. And even though I'm not a beginning sewer, I still want that for this, okay? And for this project, you want a woven fabric. This type of fabric has less stretch and only in one direction. You will have much easier time sewing this and keeping more of a shape. We can also upcycle a towel for one side of this, but I don't have enough towels and I didn't find any suitable in the thrift store, so I will just not be doing that at this point. So last time I was just grabbing random leftover pieces, so they are very mismatched in color, but this is not what I'm gonna be doing today. So I have some cute patterned cottons left over from the mask making from COVID. So I will be using these, and I wish they were a little bit sturdier, so I will be sandwiching it to make the pad thicker. And so for that middle part, I will be putting this leftover piece I had from... I don't know why I have this. So when I was making this the first time, I also read that like one side is supposed to be smooth to take stuff off your face, but then one side is supposed to be textured to put stuff on your face. So don't quote me on the science behind this, but I was thinking of making one side textured. But since I will be using only one type of fabric, I thought maybe sewing the texture on one side would work. I abandoned that immediately. Then for the bag, they are super easy to make, and basically all you need is some old curtains, or in my case I have some leftovers from shortening some curtains. Next we need something to tie the bag, so I will be taking like a t-shirt material, so a jersey for this, because they are very nice and sturdy and they are very easy to tie and untie. Also they don't fry at the ends, because knitted fabrics can just be cut and not finished. They will not fall apart. That's good because it's gonna get washed a lot, and I don't feel like doing more work than I need to do already. Also with that, I had a very solid plan of action on how to do this, and it immediately fell apart when I started sewing. So I chose one plain fabric and one patterned fabric. So I got this red one for the plain side because this is the amount I had left. So I will be using it all. So I just started cutting circles out of it, like taking this mug as a pattern piece, and just working my way through all the fabric. I then took the circles I just cut and used those to cut out the middle fabric, which was random leftover from a project, and another fabric piece with pattern on it. I then stacked them into a sandwich and sewed them together, and after that I turned them around. Easy, right? No, not right. Wrong, incredibly wrong once again. So the edges were wonky as hell when I turned them around, so I decided to just put the edge under overlock machine and to fix the edge, right? Easy again. No, wrong again. Now I couldn't get that under the overlock machine, so I had to take the seam out and sandwich them back together and then under overlock machine. So then that worked out. No, wrong again. That didn't work out also. So the fabric kept moving around. So first I put it under a zigzag to hold it together, and then back to the overlock to give it the nice edge. I'm laughing, but I want to cry now that I think about all the work. I prefer the overlock finish. I think it looks much neater than the zigzag, but if you don't have overlock, zigzag will hold just fine as well. This took incredibly longer than it needs. Anyways, moving on to the bags. This should be smoother to make. Right, guys? Why am I just gaslighting myself every time? God fucking damn it. So for the bag, I took this piece of curtain I had left over from shortening one. I eyeballed the size with one of the old bags, as well as the size of the piece I had left, so I didn't have to cut a lot of it. So first I made like buttonholes, which I hate making under normal circumstances, but with the fabric so tricky as this one, this is like a special circle of hell, like of sewing hell. Honestly, just the thought of it gave me PTSD. So I made my wonky buttonholes, and then I overlocked the edges so they stopped falling apart. I also screwed one with wrong settings on overlock, so now one of the bags will be even wonkier. Like, this experience is just getting less pleasant on every step. Then I put them together. First I folded it like so along the long edge, making sure the buttonholes are on the top corner. and I sew down along the L shape on the edge. Then I turn the bag around and sew down the edge where we put the buttonhole, making sure to keep them placed so the string can be pulled through the tunnel. Then I just took the leftover piece of jersey and cut out straps. Then I just stretched them a little bit and ran them through the tunnel with a safety pin. And with that, I'm done! So I made 3 bags and 30 pads, which I feel like is a minimal amount for me to not run out while washing them. I like 3 bags, as I mentioned, one is for the clean ones, then one is for the used ones, and one is in the wash. So now, do these look pretty? No. But are they made with love? Also no. Perhaps spite. I will put that on the tag of my future clothing line, made with spite. So I originally had a plan to make fancy ones. That kind of fell through, but I do need new ones. So I will just be using these, and I will be using the old bags for washing tights, and the old pads I will be using for removing nail polish. And I didn't do that before because, nail polish can't really be washed off, but if they are dedicated just for that, then, who cares, right? But these are really easy to make. This is an unbelievably easy sewing project. And even if you mess up a little bit, it doesn't matter. You can still use them even if they're fucked. I think each of them is different shape and size. They will still work just fine. And besides being an easy project, they are also a great sustainable project. I had my old ones for close to a decade, so I do highly recommend making this. Because after I made them, I really didn't buy any of the cotton, the single-use cotton pads, because I didn't need to. So, this can be used from basically trash. You stop buying new shit. It's good for the environment, it's good for your wallet, it's great. Hello, this is me from the future. After I have procrastinated this video for 2 months, I have been using the pads for skincare, makeup removal and such. So now I have some more feedback. I really was onto something when I wanted to use a towel. These are now lacking the structure that the fleece that I used in the old ones provided. While basically all of my towels are in not so great shape, I do not have any money to replace them at the moment. No, but when I do, I shall use some of my old ones to make improvement on the pads. So much, so much for a easy and quick project. My god, why does this always happen? This is gonna be it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more chaotic crafts. Bye bye!